It's your boy J Thoughts here once again, and as always, hit those favorite buttons of mine. That's that like, that share, that subscribe. Helps the channel grow tremendously. We got a special guest in the building today for you all, Miss J Shantae.
Hey, this is J Shantae, CEO of Legacy of Mary. Yeah.
So I know her pretty well. We've had some definite productive conversations offline. Would you agree?
Yeah, they've been productive for me, I guess.
And it's always interesting to hear a female perspective, right? Because I'm usually dropping my jewels kind of one-on-one with the fellas, but to always bring that extra perspective in is really helpful and key, because at the same time I have to think about the fact of I want a female's perspective, but I don't want just any girl's perspective. I want a girl who has, her head on her shoulders a little bit and kind of understands what it is and is looking for improvement and better outcomes in her life. So those people are usually easier to deal with and have conversations. We may have some disagreements, but somebody who's willing to at least hear the male perspective, and I think that's really what makes it beneficial, to the overall audience, right? So you and I were talking offline about there was some conversations going on within the group or whatnot. So you want to kind of level set for us? Tell us about that a little bit.
Well, yeah, so there was a video sent about, it was like a little skit, and the woman, it was a couple, and she was like, you want me to do wifely duties, but you haven't even wifed me, to her boyfriend. And he was like, when we go out, don't you expect me to protect you? Don't you expect me to pay for you? Don't you expect me to do all these other things? And she was like, yeah, of course, because you're my man. He was like, isn't that the things that you want from your husband? She was like, yeah, of course. That's why I'm in love with you. And he was like, yeah, so why do I have to be a husband, but you don't expect to do wifely duties? But I'm expected to do husband, things. And so we asked the men, like, how do you guys feel about that? Do you guys feel like you guys have to give out husband energy, but the women don't have to give out wifey energy,
Right. What was the consensus? What'd they say?
It was a lot of fluff.
Yeah.
Say that, but nobody would have gotten it. But it was basically like a lot of fluff. And then, some people got into their feelings a little bit,
You talking about the men?
People that are probably touched a little bit. Yeah, they got in their feelings. But I think it was a conversation because this was the first time the men actually spoke in the group about how they felt. So it felt like they felt safe enough to speak to us. So, but what's your take? What do you think?
What do I think on what exactly?
Do you agree that women expect men to act like husbands, but then they don't want to act like wives until after they get married?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we've heard women say this literally, like, I'll act like a wife once. If you want it, you should put a ring on it, right? Isn't that the whole thing? If you like it, then you should have put a ring on it. And the question is, what comes first, the chicken or the egg, right? So are you a wife and then you get married, or do you get married and then you become a wife?
I feel like, and this is just my opinion, you should, and I was just talking to my this. I said, we need to start preparing to be wives now. So we have to move like as if we already got that man sitting next to us, but a lot of people don't think that like that. They're like, no, because, and I was transparent with the group, and I said, sometimes I do, because I automatically move like a wife. I've been doing that because I was a wife. But sometimes you feel dumb because people take that for granted and they don't appreciate it. And so you hold back from your natural movement because you don't want to look dumb. Does that make sense?
Yeah, so it's just fear-based mentality. Like, you're afraid of getting taken advantage of.
Yeah. Because I move like a wife. So that's where I think that on her side of the story, the woman that was saying, like, I don't want to move like a wife until you marry me, it's the fact that I don't want to give that part of myself and then you take it for granted or you abuse it, and never marry me.
Right. The question is she not already taking advantage of him and his husbandly duties?
And that's why where we have the conversation. Okay, that makes sense.
So to your question, your initial question is, what do you feel about that, right? And my thought is that today men are expected still to perform their masculine duties that they've been expected to since the beginning of time.
Right.
It's only been the woman's role that's been challenged, been given pushback towards. We're still expected to provide the masculine support, protection, and direction that we've always done. It's only now that women saying, well, I don't want to do the traditional things that I was expected to do ad memoriam, right? So now there's a shift in the mindset of at least one of the parties involved. You don't think that's going to throw off the dynamics of the interpersonal relationships moving forward if one person is going into the job and saying, hey, I've seen all the job requirements and duties and I fit those to a T. I'm qualified to perform this job. They've given me that job and now I'm doing my duties. Another candidate has the same job title, same job responsibilities, and they're yet still trying to negotiate what their day-to-day tasks are going to be. That's going to give a headache to that employer. There's going to be one person that's going to be a lot easier to deal with who's been holding up their end of the deal. We pay you a salary, you perform this job. What women are doing is saying, hey, I want to get paid that salary, but I want to negotiate my job description.
Right.
After you've already hired me. That doesn't make sense. So to his point, you not performing the wifely duties is what's not getting you the ring in the first place. Because men are smart. We see logical. It's like, hey, what am I looking for in a wife? X, Y, and Z. Does she have X, Y, and Z? Then that's going to be my wife. But if you have X, Y, and Z and you don't show me you have X, Y, and Z, then you don't get the ultimate outcome that you want. Because if you're going to be selfish for the right reasons. Make sure you still get what you want out of the deal. But nowhere in life do you get something for nothing.
Yeah.
That doesn't work. I can't go in the restaurant, have them pay or give me all the food, give me all the dining and the service, and when the bill comes, I just dip.
Yeah.
That's a bait and switch. You got me under false pretenses that I was going to hold up my end of the bargain.
Right.
And now once I've given you my provision and my part of it, you now want to decide to change your mind. Well, that's going to end badly for both parties, but especially for at least one of those parties. Because if you're not getting what you want out of the deal, then ultimately you are wasting your time as a woman. If your goal is to get married, but you don't display the wifely duties to your potential husband, that potential husband is only going to be that, just potential. That's never going to get fulfilled because he of himself, if you're picking the correct men, you're picking a man that's smart, that has logic and reason, rationale, who uses his brain, right? Makes good decisions in life.
Right.
Part of those good decisions is going to be who he decides to put a ring on.
Yeah.
So if you have a son and your son is saying, hey, I want to marry this girl, and you've known this girl inside and out not to do any wifely duties towards that son, what would you advise your son to do? Go ahead and go with that marriage, knowing greater than half of them fail?
Right.
And she's walking into it already less than adequate of the responsibility she's assumed to have?
Right.
You're setting each other up for failure.
Yeah. I think for women, and I'm a woman, so I identify, but we are quick to make excuses so that we don't have to do certain things. And that's me being honest. Like, we don't want to do that because we just don't want to, period. Like, a lot of women don't want to cook, don't want to clean, and so they'll be like, well, I'll do it after we get married. But what's the chances that you're gonna not keep that habit when you get married? Like, and he's probably like scared, like she's gonna be like this after. Like, for instance, somebody in the group was like, he had to break up with his girlfriend because they had been together, I think, 2 years, and out of the 2 years they were together, she only cooked for him maybe 10 times, and he was at her house every single day. How is he at your house every single day and he's not getting a regular meal? And he was like, he would have to buy food for them all the time, or he would have to cook. Like, he was the woman, so he would get off of work and he would have to cook. And he was like, and I saw that and I couldn't imagine marrying her. And I don't think women see that part of, like, you got to do your job. Like, it is our job to provide that part of the relationship. So
why do you think women have gotten so lazy in relationships?
Because we're so liberal, and we talk down on each other. Like, I remember when I was working for the post office, and this girl, she was like really interested in the fact that I had been married for so long. I had gotten a divorce, but she was intrigued that I was with him 11 years. And she would ask me questions, and I'll be like, yeah, I cooked every day for my husband. What? Every day? I'm like, yeah, he needs to eat. And the things that I would say to her, she was just like confused. And I'm like, these are things that wives do. What did you think a wife does? But it's because society has made it where we're just supposed to be like, we're just supposed to be spoiled, basically. And this is what my husband buys me, and they never show us cooking, they never show us cleaning. So we have this false delusion that all marriage is a man taking care of us. But they don't show us, like, a lot of us grew up in single parent homes. So we don't even know about cleaning up after a man. We don't even know to make a man the plate first or anything like that. Those are things that you either seek out to learn or you just don't do for your husband, you know? Mm-hmm. So I feel like we became lazy because society allows us to be lazy.
Right. And I think men are kind of picking up on that, and they're just deciding to take their business elsewhere, right? They're either getting out the game altogether, or they're taking their business elsewhere. They're taking their talents somewhere else, right? Like LeBron did. He took his talents to South Beach. Some of the fellas is going to South Beach like, fuck this. This is bullshit, you know? And our South Beach is another country or overseas somewhere, because there's still traditional values that the women in those particular areas understand. And that's not limited to any color, race, or culture, right? That's expanding across the globe. There's women of every diaspora and every type of skin tone that still uphold those traditional values. And that's ultimately what men are still looking for, because the burden of performance has always been on our shoulders, and we've accepted that. And we've been making the necessary steps to improve ourselves. But we look across the way and we're looking at our counterparts like, yo, where y'all at? Where y'all been? And then it's looked down upon a man to have his standards as he's elevated himself in his own path. He's wanting to look at somebody who's on a similar trajectory. She doesn't have to have the same accolades. The higher a man earns financially, economically, he's not looking for women who are of that same economic tax bracket. He doesn't care about that type of shit. And so I think what's made women lazy is the fact that they've been lied to. We've both been lied to, men and women. Women have been made to believe that their value is in acquiring the things that it takes for a man to become valuable, not a woman. Women are born with their value. Men have to earn their value.
Okay.
When you're 18 and I'm 18, your value is astronomically higher than mine's ever was. But I have to put my head down for the next 10 to 15 years to make sure I prove myself worthy to whoever my potential mate will be down the line. Because at 18, I have nothing to provide a woman. I'm of no value to the world. I haven't done anything yet. But when a woman hasn't done anything yet, that's when she's at her highest value. And by done anything, she ain't done a bunch of dudes. She ain't been getting a bunch of trauma. She ain't been collecting bodies out here on the street. She ain't been getting inundated with this philosophy of, oh, I'm a boss bitch and all of that shit. So they say, oh, we want young women because you want to be able to control and manipulate them. Okay, maybe, but controlling and manipulating for what outcome though? Right? Because everybody manipulates. Everybody uses everybody. But what are we using each other for? That's what's going to make or break the deal. A partnership in business, we've merged companies. We're both using each other. Oh, you're leveraging your resources, your financial backing and infrastructure for my expertise in that market industry. So let's forge a connection here and use each other for mutual benefit. Well, I don't have soft feminine, divine essence and all of that shit. Well, let me get with a girl who has that, because she ain't got the masculine directive, control, leadership mindset that I have. So let's forge each other's, connection and make something out of it. The problem is that y'all have been told that your value is our value. So when we turn around and we've acquired that value, and then we look around at a girl who act the same as we do, that's not valuable to us.
Yeah.
So men, we make decisions with our actions. We may not tell you all of this, we just act accordingly. So most of the women, we've realized from jump, you've already written yourself off as wifey. So then you get put into the fun box. Doesn't mean there's no use for you, but it just means, are you getting what you want out of the end of the deal? And if you're not, you got to ask yourself, well, what are you putting into this deal?
Right. I totally agree with that. I feel like when it's two masculine energies, it doesn't work anyways. And because a lot of us are functioning through the struggle brings in masculine energy. And so a lot of women want to be the man. Like I heard a post the other day, and she was like, oh, we don't need y'all men anymore. She used the word nigga. I don't know if I can use that. But she was like, we are the niggas. And I was like, wow. Like that's what we're doing now. We're just like we're just taking the men's energy. Like, wow, okay. So
but you can't take our energy because you ain't got that. You ain't been blessed with that. That's like men saying, us men are in our soft girl era now. You be like, what are you talking about? You don't got that. You trying to take my shit.
Oh my god.
Hold up, that's my shit right there. Nah, homie, we don't need y'all for feminine energy.
In the sock, right?
We got our own feminine energy. I'm the mama and the daddy. You don't hear men talk like that.
No.
That's all overcompensating because you trying to prove it to yourself out loud and hoping we believe the lie with you.
Right. Because when I thought about it, I was like, she's still gonna need somebody eventually to hold her at night. So stop playing. Like, you eventually gonna want that man to come in and be a man. Like,
It's just fronting for the gram. Let's just keep it real.
Cause she probably crying about somebody right now.
It be them same ones that be acting all big and bad. Them be the little three little pigs, and they got the house of straw when it come down to it. All you gotta do is blow a little hot air on their ass, and them motherfuckers crumbling.
Right.
They not with the shit like that. They don't got brick houses like that. Yeah. You know what I mean? And we see it. That's the thing, is like the men who do see it, like at some point we didn't see it. We didn't see it at one point. But we had to learn, because men see women are like Krispy Kreme, right? You ever had fresh, hot Krispy Kreme donuts? You watch them get made as soon as they hit the press, then throw them in the box and the steam still coming off of it.
Yeah.
That's women. Y'all come out hot and ready. Men, we're like a turkey, nigga. You gotta put us in there for like 5 hours to bake, cause we not ready yet.
Right.
But when we come out, then that's when we got that brown, that succulent crust, that juicy, you know what I mean? Cause it takes a little bit more time for us to marinate. So when dudes finally get to the point where that turkey is basted and ready to go, they look around like, man, all the donuts is gone. Y'all not even hot. It's stale donuts now.
I mean,
I wanted you when you was hot and ready. But no, you wanted to still sit and wait. So we start seeing shit for what it is, but it take us a little bit longer to get to that point of clarity. And when we get to that point, I've said it's usually around that 30 mark. But I would say for a man, it's around 33 to 35 when he start being like, oh, this is what the fuck it really is. And then he starts reflecting on all the dumb shit he did. And then he has nobody but himself to look at and say, I need to do better. The problem is that, to your original question, is that women don't give themselves the allowance to be introspective and to reflect. Because you surround yourself in echo chambers with people that gas you up all day. So you never get the real until you come over here onto this side, over to the J Thought side, and you get that real shit.
Right.
and then you be like, what the fuck is this? I ain't never heard this shit before. So you push back on it as opposed to saying, damn, you know what? I ain't never thought about it like that. That makes sense. Right?
Right. I mean, because it's scary, because it kind of puts a mirror to you. I think that would be anybody that's actually confronting the true like flaws in a person or in a group of people. So like, I don't push back, but I totally saw when people push back on when you even tried to put any kind of idea out there. And I feel like that's the reason why a lot of men don't even speak on it, because they're like, no, because I'm gonna get pushback for it.
Yeah.
So
we've heard it enough. We've heard it enough time, and like I said, we're logical, right? So how many times we gonna put our hand on the stove to realize we keep getting burned? We just gonna stop putting our hand on the stove, and then even more, we just gonna stop going into the kitchen altogether, right? So it's just like, once you see the heat coming, you just stay the fuck away from it, period. Right. So you can see it already festering in a lot of women when you start going down that path of having some sort of real dialogue or pushback to whatever thoughts they had that are now being challenged. Because when you challenge a woman's viewpoint, to her, you're basically saying, hey, I'm invalidating your entire existence now. So that's very hard for them to come to grips with in a short little conversation. But the problem is that they don't realize that we've been studying them for 30 plus years, depending on how old we are. The very minute I realized I wasn't a girl, I was like, oh, I like those. I want those. So that was like 5 years old. You know what I mean? So 30 plus years, I've been studying y'all. And so it's like, when we hear y'all talking, it's like, bruh, how many times we done heard a girl say that same shit? And that girl over there telling everybody how she ain't like everybody else, when we heard 15 girls say the exact same thing verbatim. Y'all all think you are special snowflakes. It don't mean you as an individual aren't special. It just means you, in the context of the dating market, you've got to make yourself stand out from the rest. Because when a man has lived a long enough time and had an experience with enough amount of women, it's math to us at this point. Yeah. It's all formulas. So we can see if X plus 3Y equals blah, blah, blah. Then, hey, we just know what the variables are now. We figuring out the math formula. Once we figured out the formula, we can predict what the outcome is going to be. That's why I say, I don't care what you think. I care how you think. Because if I know how you think, then I can already predict what you're going to say or how you're going to react to a situation.
Right.
You don't need to know what we think. Just understand how men think. Because then you know, okay, I can't bring that bullshit to him. Or if I have this issue I need his feedback on, I kind of know what he's probably going to say, but let me just run it by him. Yep, he said exactly what I figured he was going to say. Because a lot of women play dumb when it's convenient, but y'all be knowing what it is. You just don't like hearing us be the ones to tell you.
Yeah. Because it's like, oh shoot, they see me. Like, and that's scary.
Yeah. That's why I'm like, yo, I just had that conversation. I was like, man, do they not realize like we could see you?
And I just started realizing that this year that, oh shoot, men can see me. Like, because, I've been open to hear what they have to say, like be brutally honest. And I'm like, oh shoot, you can see me. You can see that flaw?
Yeah.
You can see that insecurity? Oh shoot. That mean another guy could have saw it, and that's the reason why he didn't want to date me no more.
Yeah.
Like, that's crazy.
We know women have flaws. I'm going to leave you with this because I know you got to run, but there's been women that I've been with and they've had an insecurity. As men, we understand that everybody is alive has an insecurity. But it's how you handle it. So for example, I'll say body parts, right? Like you getting down and hot and heavy with your girl or whatever for the first time, and you start grabbing her on her waist or whatever, and she's like, don't touch me there, like, because she's real self-conscious about her midsection. Right. A lot of times the very thing you don't like about yourself is the very thing he's attracted to. So a lot of women self-sabotage their prospective mates because they're shooting themselves in the foot when a guy, look, we don't pay attention to the same shit y'all pay attention to.
Right.
Men like things about women that women don't even realize we like about y'all. Vice versa, right? Like if a dude's doing some random shit, you could probably be like, oh my God, that was really hot what he just did. That was super sexy. And I'm like, what did he do? Like he was just going out to the car. He popped the trunk and got some fucking water out the case. Yeah, but the way he picked up the water though, did you see that? Like, I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about because I'm not a female. Exactly. I'm not looking at it from that lens. But I'm not going to sit there and tell you, no, you're wrong for thinking that I was sexy. No, that's what you wanted. That's what you're attracted to. Right. Oh, I like a man with big, broad shoulders. Do I like a broad with some broad shoulders? No.
No. I hope not.
I don't want that. I don't want you to have broader shoulders and a deeper voice to me. Like, that's not hot to us. You know? I like how smooth she is. Like, no, nigga, you're not smooth. That's us. You're the emotional one. I like how solemn. You know what I mean? I like how, you know what I'm saying, stoic she is. Like, that's not hot. You've never heard a nigga say that shit ever. Yo, she's mad stoic, son. Like, what? Bruh, the way she be lifting them weights, them shoulders, my nigga. Like, no.
Oh my gosh.
No. We like y'all to be fit and all of that, but we ain't looking for the same shit y'all looking for at us. So, right. I would tell women, let us like you. A lot of women don't even let us like you. We be liking you, and then you do everything to make us not like you, and then wonder why we stop liking you. It's like,
wow.
Like, ooh, I like that little stretch mark she got behind her left butt cheek, and she be like, oh, that's nasty. Don't touch me on there. He be like, bro, that shit get hard, dog. I'm about to kiss the shit out of that. But you don't even let him. So now he getting less of you in the course of the bedroom fun. So then he might leave, and you're like, why you don't fuck with me no more? Because he got bored. He's tired of dealing with this insecurity shit. He knew what he was getting into. He can see you.
Right.
Let him do what he gonna do. That's what he want. Let him have it. But you want to sit there and like hide part to you and act like people don't see these parts of you, and then wonder why people ain't trying to see these parts of you no more.
Right.
Does that make sense?
It does make sense. It's like you're not giving out enough. You're trying to hide and put a mask on instead of just being your authentic self, because obviously your authentic self is the reason why he came towards you, you know?
Exactly.
You know, it's a hard habit to come away from because we're taught to cover up. That's why we have makeup. Like, you know, we're taught to cover up any flaws that we have. So letting a man see us is very, you have to be very mature to do that.
You look at the happiest women, right? Most of them that are really happy, they're not walking around here acting like bad bitches. They're not walking around here with Ronald McDonald makeup on. They're not walking around here with Jeffy the Giraffe eyelashes. They're not walking around here in Transformer body parts. They're not walking around here acting stupid, acting like people don't see who they are. They're natural, they're beautiful, they're calm, cool, and collected and feminine in their own way. And then they attract a higher caliber. A dude that's on a higher wavelength is going to be drawn to that because that's more closer to what God designed for us anyway. God don't make mistakes.
Right.
So why go get fake titties and a BBL when God already gave you the shit that men want? He didn't give men a desire to want plastic and silicone. That wasn't embedded in our genetics. That's not even who we are to our core. So a lot of women are so used to the fake that they wonder why they keep attracting fake ass relationships.
Right.
They want niggas to be real with them all day, every day. Ask every motherfucking girl, what do you want in your relationship? I want him to be honest. I don't want him to be a liar. You've been lying to yourself for 30 years.
Wow, that was deep. Okay.
Should we drop it on that? Should we drop the mic on that one?
Right. I think so.
We gonna talk again.
Ponder on like that.
You know what I mean? We gonna circle back though, because I'm gonna circle back with y'all because, you know, obviously Jay Shantae we got a lot to talk about. You know what I mean? I always like talking to you. We have good conversations. So
Yeah,
maybe next time we can delve a little deeper and maybe touch on some other stuff. I don't know if you got anything that's going on, but
yeah, I do.
hit me
Definitely.
up, and then we'll make something happen, because I think the people need to hear this. This is really good.
Thank you, J Thoughts. This was fun.
Absolutely. Yes, ma'am. And as always, it's your boy signing off, J Thoughts. Hit that like, that share, that subscribe. Helps the channel grow tremendously. We out.